Welcome, everyone. Everyone knows my name by now. Chantal is president and co-founder of VG Gourmet, a Montreal-based company that makes gourmet plant-based products sold in over 1,000 grocery stores across Canada. Chantal has created and developed all the recipes for the VG Gourmet product line, including plant-based burgers, marinated tofus, soups, balls, and crumbles. She has had a passion for food and cooking from a very young age when she decided to stop consuming animal products. She is a self-taught chef with hundreds of creative plant-based recipes under her belt. Tonight, we have the honor of having as our guest speaker, Chantal Bekhor, who's going to talk to us about what is plant-based and why is everyone talking about it. And then we have the pleasure of her demonstrating how to make tofu. Go ahead, Chantal.
All right. Well, hi, guys. First of all, thank you all for joining and logging in and coming to watch my presentation. And thank you so much, Grace, for actually organizing these presentations every single Tuesday. It's been really nice during lockdown to learn what everybody in the community has to say, and it's been really nice to have. So thank you for organizing all that. So I just want to talk to you guys about plant-based. I know that's a buzzword that everybody's been hearing over the past few years. I'm going to share my screen. We'll do a quick PowerPoint. And after that, we'll do a live cooking demo. Hopefully, some of you guys are brave enough to join me in the cooking demo. But if not, that's okay. Maybe you'll be inspired to do it another day. Okay, so what is plant-based and why is everyone talking about it? So this is a buzzword that's been all over the media, all over social media. Everybody's talking about these words, plant-based, and I'm sure you guys have been hearing a ton of it. So I just want to explain briefly what it is. Basically, plant-based, as the word suggests, is anything derived from a plant. So food that's derived from an apple, a carrot, anything that is not from an animal source. So for example, eggs, cheese, chicken, fish, none of that would be included in plant-based. Plant-based food is only food derived from plants. Just saying is I stopped consuming animal products when I was really young. I was probably about 8 years old when I decided that I didn't want. And back then, I have to say, plant-based was not cool the way it is today. There were no products available in grocery stores like today. Today, you go into a grocery store, there's thousands of products out there. But back when I decided to stop consuming animal products, it was really hard. And I'd like to publicly apologize to mom and dad because I know how difficult it was for them to actually make me food because there just weren't any alternative of how we started our business, because I grew such a passion for cooking, for learning how to make alternatives because I wanted to eat them. I was fed up of having a burger bun with ketchup and mustard in it, and that's it. Every barbecue, that's what I would eat, a burger bun with ketchup and mustard. So over the years, I just developed a passion, and I told myself, well, what do I want to put inside that burger bun plate instead of the chicken? And then I just developed thousands of recipes, and as I grew up, I realized that the market started expanding, and yes, there were more products available that were vegan and vegetarian, but there was nothing that was made from beans, made from real food, which is a huge influence in my upbringing, is real food, beans, lentils, parsley, fresh veggies, and that's what I craved. And so just to give you, a little of how everything started. So now I'll actually get into the presentation. Okay, so what is plant-based? We just discussed that, anything that's derived from a plant. And so in 2019, Health Canada updated their food guide. And this is really where the surge, things went crazy. People started talking about plant-based. This is the new food guide that came out. This was the first time that they said half your plate vegetables. This is also the first time that they said only 1/4 should be protein and they actually included tofu and beans as a recognized protein. So this is a big deal for the plant-based industry. And then they also said a quarter of your plate should be grains, but they actually said choose whole grains, which is a really big difference from regular grains like white bread, white rice. If you're going to choose grains, choose whole grains like wheat, like bulgur. These are all things full of fiber. They'll make you full and they've got a lot of protein. And the other big difference in this food guide is that they mentioned make water your drink of choice. So it's enough with the sugary soft drinks, drink water. And that's something also that I feel that we've grown up with. And I think a lot of people in our community believe in that as well. So along with the actual food guide, they actually included this sentence, which I feel was also a huge win for the plant-based market. They talk about protein foods and they wrote consume plant-based more often. Why? Why consume plant-based more often coming from Health Canada? The reasons are simple. Eating more fruits and vegetables links to lower cardiovascular disease. Soy protein and nuts is linked to improved blood lipid levels. High fiber, which is always from vegetables, also reduces your risk of colon cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. And processed meat has been linked to colorectal cancer and benefits to eating plant-based. And I know there's a lot of people out there that want to eat plant-based every day, but there's also a huge market that's what we call the flexitarian market, for people that don't necessarily want to give up their animal products, which is okay, but they want to add in more plant-based meals, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week, maybe half your week. It's great to add more plant-based meals to your weekly menus. So that's basically how things begin. And I want to give you also a little bit of market data. So things in the industry, plant-based has been the vibe. It's been growing nonstop over the past few years. Right now, the plant-based retail market in the US is $4.5 billion. That's humongous. And it's growing at a rate of 5 times total food sales. So that means the average of every single product out there that's being sold that is not plant-based products are growing 5 times more than that every day. So that's just a little something to tell you why it's so important. And just got a couple of graphs. The 3 years between April 2017 and April 2019, plant-based foods have grown from $3.4 billion to $4.5 billion. And it's continuing to grow. It's going to keep going over the next few years. This is not something that's going away. So, and then also just the graph on the other side is total growth of all plant-based foods versus all food, 11% versus 2%. So it's not that there's more people, it's that people are choosing plant-based foods. Then I've also got, just to show you some interesting other statistics, I've got growth of plant-based meat versus animal meats. So 10% plant-based meats have grown while animal meats have grown 2%. It's a huge difference. But actually, I think an even more interesting statistic is the dairy versus plant-based dairy. So plant-based dairy has grown 19% versus real dairy 0%. And I'm sure you guys have seen on plant-based milks, milk specifically, real dairy milk has dropped by 3%. And the yogurt is crazy, 39% versus 3% of dairy yogurt. So I'm sure you guys have seen in grocery stores, it started with just like 1 or 2 soy milks, but now there's a ton of them. There's almond milks, there's cashew milk, hemp seed milk, oat milk. People are making milk from anything. And just to relate back to our community, you guys have been enjoying plant-based milk forever. After Kippur, we have, what is it called? Hariri. And what is Hariri? Hariri is the original almond milk. So yeah, just to relate it back to you. Just also another little interesting statistic of what what plant-based categories are actually growing at an exponential rate. If you just look at this quickly, you can see spreads, dips, sour creams, and sauces by 52%. Eggs, plant-based eggs. There's eggs. Some are made from chickpea flour, some are made from tofu, and that's grown by 38%. And another huge one is ice cream. There's a lot of plant-based ice creams out there. Some of them are even made from coconut cream, and there's no way anyone can tell the difference. Okay, so that's the market data. And just to let you know, as in the United States, Canadian consumers are also rapidly increasing plant-based. According to recent data, Nielsen study, in Canada, it's grown 16% the year ending in 2019. And that's the most recent stat that I can find online. But I can tell you from everybody that I've spoken to within the industry, that is continuing to grow. So in Canada, it is now a $500 million industry, which is very huge. Okay, so that's all more the business side of things. But now I guess I'm more about how we can all get a little bit more plant-based foods into our own lives. So the first question, this is the question that everybody asks. You don't eat animals? Where do you get your protein? This is a huge question, but I'm going to answer this question right now and tell you plants have protein, and here is where you get them. So plant-based proteins can be divided into 5. The first one, beans and legumes, which I know you guys are all super familiar with. We use lots of lentils in our cuisine. We use khichdi, mjadra. We use lots of beans, lots of chickpeas, and these are fantastic sources of fiber, of protein. You just gotta add them to your meals. The second one is nuts and seeds, also a huge staple in our diets. So nuts, they're great as a salad topper. They're great. Sometimes I actually like to take walnuts or almonds and cut them up small and use them as a meat replacer, like instead of minced meat. You can put that in a shepherd's pie. You can put it in a potato chop. There's so many ways you can do that. And whole grains. So grains do have protein. A lot of people feel that grains are just a carb and there's nothing in there, but there is a lot of protein, a lot of fiber in grains, as long as you're choosing whole grain. So some good bulgur, quinoa is a really good one. Quinoa is actually one of the only full protein sources from a grain. And also it's kosher for Passover, so you can think about that for next week. And then tofu and meat replacements. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a little while, but there's tons of them, and I'll say that for later. And yes, veggies have protein. A lot of people don't believe the veggies have protein, but they do. The highest protein veggies are kale, spinach, broccoli, and mushrooms. And veggies actually have the same or more protein per calorie as meat. So what does that mean? That doesn't mean 1 cup of spinach will give you the same protein as 1 cup of chicken. That 100 calories worth of spinach will give you more protein than 100 calories worth of chicken. So yes, you need to eat a lot more spinach to get the same amount of protein, but it'll still be the same amount of calories. So just eat a lot. That's okay. Okay. So that's about protein. So the next part is, let's just talk about, what can we make? What kind of meals can I make? This poor guy, there's nothing in there for him. It's very sad. So a lot of people say, oh, I would like to eat vegetarian, I'd like to eat plant-based, but there's nothing to make. There's no food. But that's not true. There is so much that you can make. And so I'm going to give you guys ideas of some different meals that you guys can make if you want to add a plant-based night in your menu. So the first one, I don't know how many of you guys have heard of a Buddha bowl. but this is one of my favorite things to make. It's a staple in our house. We make it at least once a week. A Buddha bowl is basically a really pretty, really nutrient-rich bowl that's full of lots of things. And what's fun about it is that you can switch it up every week. You can make it completely different, but you will love it every time. So I'm going to give you the basics. So first you need a base. You got your bowl. Your base is always a leafy green. Examples: kale, cabbage, spinach, collards, arugula. Any leafy green you like, that's your base. So put that in the bottom of your bowl, okay? The second is the grain. So any grain will work here. And like I was talking before, aim for whole grains. That always makes things a little healthier. Putting quinoa on our Buddha bowls. Sometimes we do bulgur, buckwheat, brown rice. Just choose any grain you like. So that goes right on top of your grain. Next, you need to choose a protein. So you can do beans, you can do chickpeas, lentils, tofu, tempeh. In this specific picture, it's actually, we had a photographer take a picture of a Buddha bowl made with our meatballs, which goes really well. You can also use falafel balls, anything, okay? And then extra veggies. You've got to add a bunch of veggies on top of them. You can do some roasted veggies. I really like doing roasted sweet potato in there, roasted beets, roasted cauliflower, and then you always have to have some raw veggies too. So some cucumbers, some carrots, any kind of raw veggies you like. And you can even put some fruit. You can put some apple slices, some orange slices. Just get creative. Whatever you like, whatever you have in the fridge, there's no wrong answer. And then you need some crunch. So just for some texture, you need some crunch. I like to do pumpkin seeds. I like to do sesame seeds, just sprouts, which you can make yourself or you can buy, and just throw it on there. And then finally, you need to finish it off with a killer dressing. So you can use a store-bought dressing. You can use your favorite salad dressing that you make. But I actually find dressings for Buddha bowls, I like to do a base of either tahini or nut butters or nutritional yeast. So it feels a little bit heartier. And that's it. That's a Buddha bowl. So you can switch that. You're going to love it no matter what you do. I guarantee that. So there's a couple things you're going to remember from this presentation. The first one is how to create a killer Buddha bowl. And the second one is coming later when we're going to cook tofu together, so you'll know how to cook it. Okay. Then other fun veggie-full meal ideas. So some ideas I have, so just I'll quickly go through a few. You can use any veggies, any sauce, tofu, mix it up, serve with rice, noodles. You've got vegetable bean soups, stews, any vegetable you have in the fridge, that's gonna work, and it's really filling. Bean chilies, usually a base of tomato, lots of beans, and some cumin, makes a really hearty meal. Take that bean chili, throw it in a taco, and you've got Taco Tuesdays. You can put some salsa, some avocado, and you've got curries. There's so many different curries you can make. You've got Indonesian curries, Indian curries, Thai curries. Switch the veggies every week. Put lentils, put beans, put chickpeas, and you've got a great meal. And finally, we've got, roasted veggies. I also want to give you the best way to roast your veggies. Any vegetable you like, you take, you cut, you add salt, pepper, olive oil, and balsamic vinegar. Mix it together, put it secret, flat on a baking sheet, 425 for 20 minutes. That is it, that is all. If you're using a hard root vegetable like sweet potato or butternut squash, you need to add an extra 10 minutes. But veggies like broccoli, mushrooms, onions, that's all you need to do. And sometimes I just throw some chickpeas in there and that's dinner. And then finally, we've got loaded sweet potatoes or other stuffed veggies. You just take your sweet potato, you roast it, and you can throw anything on there. That's your base, and you eat it super fun. Or eggplants. I love to throw some lentils in there, some herbs, and you just eat it. It also makes it fun. It's like a fun big bowl. Don't forget cabbage rolls. And there's our dolma, which is eggplant, usually onions and vine leaves, also stuffed with rice and chickpeas, different things like that. So those are all lots of fun ideas on what we can have for dinner. So now that we're all feeling good together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get off this screen, and Emmanuel's going to use my iPhone to film me while I talk about a little bit more plant-based proteins, and then we'll do our live cooking demo. Hopefully some of you guys are joining in. Okay, so here I am. Welcome to my kitchen. So I just want to take a few minutes. I know there are so many plant-based proteins that are out there being sold in supermarkets, and it can be a little overwhelming to figure out what to buy, what to make, what to use, and how to use it. So I chose a few of my favorites, and we're just going to go through what it is. So first of all, tofu. Tofu is, I always have a block of tofu in my fridge. This is my go-to. This is my favorite thing to make. So there are so many different kinds of tofus. You'll find in Asian markets, there are little puff tofus, fried tofus, and you can use those in your stir fries. These are a couple that I really like. So the one we're going to be using today for cooking is this one. It's the extra firm tofu. And this, you'll see, like, it comes in a plastic like this. So you know this is the one that works for stir fries. And I'll just show you quickly another kind, which is always comes in this kind of a container. So this is silken tofu. And sometimes it will say it's firm, but it's not. Don't listen, it's a lie. So I'll just show you quickly what this one looks like. When you open it up, it looks like this. It's a very different texture. As you can see, it's very soft, almost gelatinous. This is great to use in like salad dressings instead of mayo, or even smoothies, soups. This is a great thickener. I'll come back to this one that we're going to be using in a couple of minutes, because I'll just go through the others really quickly. So this here is kind of crazy. This is wheat gluten. So this is just protein derived from wheat. That's all it is. It's just a powder. You mix this with water and you get a crazy meat replacement. Well, obviously I put some spices in here too, but you could see a smoked meat. All it is wheat gluten, water, a little bit of oil, and lots of spices. Is that insane? I know, it is. And then I'll go through, this is tempeh. I don't know if any of you have heard of tempeh, but it's soybeans that have been fermented. So this is what it looks like. You can actually see all the beans in there. And you can slice that up and just fry it with a little salt and pepper. It's really yummy. And then finally, this is TVP, textured soy protein or textured vegetable protein. So it comes dry, almost like a cereal, in these little bits. Oh, whoops. And when you rehydrate it, it's almost like ground beef. So that's what it looks like. So that can be used in tacos instead of ground beef. But personally, I really like using real things like lentils and different things like that. But this is a good option as well. Okay, so now back to our live cooking demo. Yay! Okay, so those of you who are joining me, starting to get out your tofu, your block of tofu, and those of you who are not, just watch. Okay, so take a clean kitchen towel that I had asked you to prepare, put it on your cutting board. Okay, we're going to open the block of tofu. The way I always open a block of tofu, I take a knife, I slice down the center, and here it is, and you just pop it out. Okay, and you can see the tofu that I had shown you before, really different texture than this. Like, this is not at all soft. Okay, so the first thing you do when you have a block of tofu, you take a towel and you just squeeze, like put all your might in there and squeeze. The reason you're doing this is because there's a lot of liquid in that tofu and you want to get rid of it. You want it to go away. Tofu is a sponge, so you don't want the liquid in there. You want your sauce in there. So as long as you get rid of that liquid, your sauce is going to penetrate. Okay, so do this. If for some reason you find this hard, you have issues with your hands or anything, another option is don't squeeze, put a tray on top, put something heavy on top of that, and leave it for 30 minutes, just walk away. Okay, so now that I've squeezed my tofu, you can actually see this towel is super wet. So all that water is gone. Okay, so now I'll just show you how I slice it. I've got my pan heating up. For those of you who are joining me, get your oil in your pan and get that heating up. Okay, so now I'm going to slice it. I slice it pretty thin. And so just by the way, what I'm actually making is, this is something that I make really often. It's kind of like an Asian tofu steak. So it's really good in sandwiches. We love to eat this in like a baguette with lots of veggies. Or you could just have it on a plate with some rice, with some veggies. And it's really versatile. You can change up the sauce every once in a while, but it's a great texture and I love it. So for the demo, I'll just start with half the block, just so we go a little quicker. And those of you who are following along, I had asked you to prepare 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper. So that's here in my plate. So I'm going to take a piece of tofu and I'm just going to lightly press it into this cornstarch. That's it. Okay. Try to get it all around. Try not to make a huge mess like I am, but that's okay. So we'll just do a few pieces. We'll put that in the cornstarch. Just try to get it all around. Okay. So, okay, now I'll start putting these in the frying pan. If your oil is hot, they should start sizzling. I'll do a few more, and while it cooks, it's going to need to cook for a few minutes. So while it does that, I'm happy to take any questions.
If anyone has any questions, please raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Evelyn Shaheen?
Yes.
Yeah, you said you can have butter from the nuts. How do you do that?
To make, okay, so, well, I'm sure you've had peanut butter. So that's butter made from peanuts, but you can use almonds or cashews. And the way to do it is put it in your Cuisinart. If you have a Cuisinart or a food processor, take them, put them in there, process it. Usually I put a little bit of oil in there just to make it run smoother and leave it for a couple of minutes. And then you've got your own homemade nut butter. And if you want, you could put a little cinnamon or different flavors to make it fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Raise your hand. All the cooks in the house. Lydia, unmute yourself.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Chantal?
Good.
How high should, when you cook tofu, how high should the temperature be?
So it's at the beginning, it should be pretty high because you want to get a nice sizzle. As it's going, you want to go down to medium high. Is that it? Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, and if you're tossing it with stir fry vegetables, do you have to coat it with the cornstarch first?
No, actually you don't. This one is more for like a steak sandwich type thing. So it gives you a little bit of a crust. But if you're doing stir-fried veggies, what I like to do is I always cut it up. I put it in the pan before I put my veggies. I put them and then I let them brown with a little bit of oil and then turn around on each side so that the whole thing gets brown. Then I add my veggies and then I add my sauce.
Thank you. That's very good. Thank you.
No problem.
Chantal, we have a few questions in the chat.
Yeah.
Albert Herskovich wants to know, how do you ensure no E. coli contamination in green plant-based food?
How do you ensure? Okay, that's actually a good question. So the first thing, sorry, you buy from a source that you trust. That's the most important thing. But another really important thing is wash your veggies really well. Like you can even use some there are some cleaners that are meant for washing veggies, and that's a really good idea to try to get rid of anything. And then the third tip is cook your veggies, because when you get it to a certain temperature, you're killing bacteria.
So you put oil on your veggies when you're roasting them?
Yes, I do.
That was another question. Lily
Yes.
has a question. Lily,
Yes,
unmute yourself.
Hello. Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
How are you?
Hi. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Tell me, any specific oil that you recommend? Like
It
avocado
depends for what.
for this tofu.
For the one that I'm making right now, any vegetable oil is fine. I would avoid something like an olive oil, because you want to get it really hot, and olive oil has a low smoke point. But any neutral vegetable oil is good.
Canola oil is good?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem.
We have a question from Rosie Sharabani. Rosie, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, Chantal.
Hi, Rosie. How are you?
Good, thank you. I've been hearing about you for years, but you're way more impressive than I could have imagined. Thank you.
Aw, you're so sweet.
I have two questions. One is something that I keep hearing about is nutritional yeast, but I know nothing about it. Just can you tell us how to use it in food, and what is the health value or nutrition?
Oh my God, I'm so happy you asked. I love nutritional yeast. I'm actually obsessed with it. Okay. So this is what it is. I'll just show. My hands are full of cornstarch, so ignore the white powder. It's not anything bad. So that's what it looks like. It's like little flakes. Okay, so what's good about it is it's super high in protein and super high in fiber and in lots of different vitamins, including calcium, vitamin A, vitamin D, and it gives you almost like a cheesy taste to different things. I love to use it in lots of salad dressings. It gives you that umami. So just put it with some olive oil, some vinegar, and a big scoop of that. It's crazy good. And it's also good to just like top your popcorn. We love to do that. We love to actually put some on tofu also. Like if we make like a tofu scramble, we chop up tofu small and then we pour a bunch of that, and it's really good.
Very cool. Second question for you.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that fermented tofu is the healthiest, and I've been looking.
Yes.
So I've been looking in grocery stores or whatever health food stores for fermented tofu, but I didn't find it. But I heard you say that the tempeh is fermented.
Yes.
So are the regular stir-fried tofus not fermented?
No. Okay. So I'll tell you. Actually, there's a couple things you can do.
Okay.
So first of all, tempeh. So like I showed you, this is tempeh. So all this is, it's soybeans, and it's got a culture in there, and it ferments.
Okay.
So that's really actually good for you, because it's good for your digestion. And there is no such thing as fermented tofu.
Okay.
This is what they're talking about. However, there is something called sprouted tofu. And my sister, who's watching here somewhere, is the one who introduced me to that. It's and sprouted tofu is made from soybeans that have been sprouted.
Okay.
And that's also really good for digestion, especially if people have trouble digesting regular tofu. That works really well.
Okay, thank you so much, Chantal. All the best.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so if you're looking at my pan, could you show maybe sorry. If you're looking at my pan, you can start to see the edges are getting slightly brown. So we're just gonna flip them. As you can see, it's like getting a little bubbly and crispy looking. Okay, so we're gonna leave that for another few minutes. Okay, now we can go back to questions.
Okay, so Gloria's question is, did you write a cookbook?
No, I didn't. That is a dream, though. It is a dream for the future. Hopefully, one day soon I will. Maybe one day when I have 5 minutes to breathe.
Sure.
I will work on one, but that is a dream. It's something
And the
I'd like to do.
Sisterhood will sponsor you.
Perfect.
There's a question from Miranda. Where do you
Yes.
buy your nutritional yeast? Is it sold in regular grocery stores like IGA?
Okay, yeah, hi Miranda. So it is sold in regular grocery stores. It usually is in the health food section. So there's usually an aisle with more the organic, different things like that. And it would be sold in packages in that section, or it would be sold in the bulk food section where you know you can put things in bags. Like they usually have like big things of different flours and beans, and you can scoop it. They also have it at Bulk Barn, but if you can't find it, for sure health food stores have it.
Okay. Pamela Eni, do you have a question?
No, I didn't have a question. I just wanted to show off a bit.
Yes, that's awesome. So what do you use it on?
What do I use it on?
Yeah.
Mostly salads. I use it mostly for salad, but I can sprinkle it on anything.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm kind of one of those flexies.
Which is great.
That cause trouble, but I prefer no meat myself.
Yes. So and it's nice to have options for that.
Yeah. And I love all the foods that you cook. I buy them. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. Thank you for the support. Thank you.
Oh,
Do you have time for more questions?
Of course.
Okay. Mrs. Roth or Dr. Roth?
I never heard. Thank you very much. I love tofu.
you.
I don't know how to make it. You mentioned tempeh. I never heard it. It looks very interesting. How do you spell it and where do I buy it?
Okay, so it's spelled TEMPEH.
And what is it? What is it called? Where do you buy it?
Okay, so you can buy it in most grocery stores. Like if you're going to a regular grocery store like IGA or Metro or whatever, it's usually with, you know where they sell the lettuce, like the bags of lettuce? There's usually a fridge there and it's usually there.
In fridge, so it's in a fridge.
Wait, but sometimes it's usually there, but sometimes it's in the freezer in the organic section.
Oh, okay.
So it depends on the store. Some grocery stores will put it in the fridge over there, but some will put it in the freezer, like near the veggie burgers and things like that.
Yeah, and that I didn't understand what you did now with that tofu, what you put, but I once was somewhere in somebody's house and they had a tofu with coconut and curry, something so good. I don't remember what it was. It's also sounded like, I want to hear more about it. Okay, I will not disturb you more. I'm working.
No, you're not disturbing at all. To make like a curry tofu, you mean, or what do you mean?
Yeah, whatever you said now, like stir fried, it's very simple, like you said before, just with oil and that, okay?
Exactly, and then we're going to put a sauce as well.
Sauce, I want to know what sauce you make.
Yes, we're getting there in 2 seconds.
Do you want to make sure that your Aunt Amy is doing the right thing? Because I see that she's doing the cooking at the same time as you.
You know what? I don't trust her. It's a good idea to check.
Amy, do you have any questions?
Hi.
No, I have a helper. Jane is helping. She's frying the tofu.
Awesome.
Jane, turn around, say hi.
Okay. Hi, Jane.
So just to show you we're doing it. And we've got the baguette already.
I'm very proud of you.
Well, it's an activity.
So frying, you're okay with the...
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay, good.
Working very well. Thank you, sweetie. It's a beautiful presentation.
Thank you. I'm gonna put the sauce on the tofu now. Okay, so for those of you following along, including Amy, so the sauce that I told you guys to prepare in advance, for those of you who didn't check, it's a mix of ginger, it's a soy sauce, rice vinegar, maple syrup, and sesame oil. And a little bit of sriracha if you like some heat. So, and a little tip, I like to mix sauces in a little jar, just makes things easier for me. So now you can see the tofu is getting nice and brown. It's sizzling beautifully. I only did half a block, so I'm not going to use the whole sauce, but just to show you, I just pour it. And you see what's happening right now is the tofu is drinking that sauce. And I'm going to move them around a little bit as the sauce thickens. I'm moving the tofu pieces a little bit around so that it just penetrates in there. And you see really quickly, the sauce, when I poured it in, it was super liquidy. Right now, it's like, it's thick. It's getting nice and thick. And I just turn them a couple of times for a couple of minutes. And you see all that sauce, it's getting absorbed. Yeah, and while I'm just gonna take one more minute to turn one more time, and then I'll show you what it looks like. And this, like I told you, you guys, you can eat this like just like that, like a tofu steak, or you can throw it in a sandwich. It's really yummy that way. That's our favorite way, is just put it in a nice baguette. So, okay, so I'm gonna take one piece. You can see it's nicely coated. I'll put it on a plate. Just get you guys to look inside. Dropping all my cutlery, but that's okay. So you can see it's got a nice crust on the outside and soft on the inside, and it's perfect. This is how we love to have it. So there you go. So the tofu recipe is done. But if anyone has any other questions, I'm still here.
Yeah, two questions. Amanda Hadid wants to know how much
Yes.
of each sauce ingredient.
I'm sorry?
How much of each sauce ingredient?
Amanda Hadid should have been reading the emails that I sent her. But it's, if I can remember, it was 1 tablespoon of sriracha. I can't find it, she wrote. 1 tablespoon of sriracha, a 1/4 cup of maple syrup, a 1/3 cup of rice vinegar, and a 1/4 cup of tamari, and 2 teaspoons of sesame oil.
Thank you. Toby Schulman wants to know, where can I buy your food that everyone is speaking about?
Oh, thank you so much. That's really nice. So we sell in, if you're in the Montreal area, we're in almost all the IGA stores, Metro, and all the health food stores. If you go into IGA or Metro, it's in the freezer in the health food section. It's usually the gluten-free or the bio freezer, and it's called VG Gourmet.
Thank you. Mrs. Roth, Dr. Roth has another question.
Sure.
I'm sorry that I speak fast, but I understand very slow. You said very fast about sauce, and I didn't get again. Ginger, rice vinegar, maple syrup, sesame oil, and tamari?
Exactly. You got it.
So that's what you mix, because very important to know sauce. That's the sauce that you put together.
That's the sauce I put together. And it's actually the exact recipe is on the flyer of tonight's event.
On the flare. And how long can that sauce stay if you don't use, like you didn't use much, you put back in the fridge? How long can it stay in the fridge?
It'll be good for about a week. Let's say a week to 10 days. It'll still be good.
It's good, it's good. And when you say you can buy, I didn't know, I'm very ignorant about it, that you can buy your food in the store. Under which name? You said it very fast.
Our product, it's called VG. Like
VG, capital VG.
Exactly, Gourmet.
VG Gourmet, just 2 letters, VG Gourmet.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. That's very nice of you. Thank you.
Okay.
Lily Dengur, would you like to say a few words?
Hi, how are you?
Fine. Hi. Thank you, Grace. And hello, everyone. Thank you, Shona, for a lovely presentation. We learned so much in such a short time. You have certainly inspired us to try to implement some of your great recipes in our daily cuisine for a healthy eating lifestyle. As we are nearing the end of the Super Tuesday program, your culinary demonstration has become, by default, the icing on the cake. No pun intended.
Thank you.
I want to thank all the previous presenters, men and women, the office staff, and everyone who contributed to the success of this program. But most of all, I want to thank you, the viewers, for your enthusiasm, encouragement, and participation that really made the program highly educational and entertaining. And last, and certainly not least, at the helm, the president of the Sisterhood, Grace Perez-Laui.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said.
Okay, Grace, this is for you. I have a poem, a song to sing. We'll all dance in a ring, joyfully in praise of our lovely Grace. She gathered us with love and care and left nothing to spare. A dynamic personality, efficient and full of vitality. Heralding a new generation to embrace with love and admiration. The Tuesday program, like its name, was really super. It made our lives enjoyable and fuller. No more alone, but together, bonded by friendship forever. It made the long winter easily pass and attracted hundreds of fans, glued to their seats online every Tuesday, ready on time. For the presentations, she carefully chose interesting subjects galore. She picked up a great team of speakers, the cream of the cream. Powerful young women, they make us proud. Community devoted, to greatness bound. We hope to have them one more round and listen to whatever they talk about. Spring has finally arrived. With hope and faith, we survived. We look forward to plan again, no matter if there is sun or rain. In festive clothes, we'll dress up, our faces beautifully made up, in celebration of the happy, normal life that is our God-given right. Thank you all, and have a happy, healthy, and kosher Passover. You.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lily.
That was
That's
really beautiful.
Very sweet. We're going to welcome everyone to unmute themselves to congratulate Shauna for a beautiful evening. I want to remind everyone that next week we have Samantha Balas, who's going to talk to us about the COVID vaccine and debunking the myth about the vaccines, to discuss the pros and cons of all of them. And I'm not going to ruin it for her because I'm not a doctor, but there is one more presentation and it's next Tuesday. So please, everyone, congratulate Shauna. It was a beautiful evening. And you know that the Spanish and Portuguese welcomes all donations in honor of Shauna for the beautiful evening she gave the Spanish and Portuguese and the Sisterhood. So unmute yourselves and applaud, please.
Yay!
Thank you, Shauna.
Hey, Shauna.
Thank you,
Simon. Enjoyed it.
That was the best.
So informative. We learned so much. Thank
Thank you.
I'm going
Thank
to,
you.
I'm going to make a lot of stuff.
you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna ask for a tutoring session.
And you do it all, and you do it all with a smile, Shauna.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Shauna,
Oh,
we want to
Gary's
eat you.
eating. How is it?
Yeah, it's very good. I was just, we cooked with you and I hope we're going to eat with you.
Yeah.
I hope
You want to
so.
see mine? I
Yes,
also
please.
made like mine.
That one, Amanda. Wow.
I tried. I was really stressed as I was doing it, but it was good. I think it came out well.
Yay, can I see? Can I see again?
Yeah, I think I did a good job.
Bravo, bravo.
So just as FYI, Shauna always tells me to use cornstarch with the tofu, and I never have cornstarch, so I always use flour. But there is a big difference if you use cornstarch.
Right?
A big
Tell you
difference.
to use it.
It's so good. It's like crispy and yummy. And I have my baguettes. Thanks, Mom.
Very good.
Yum, yum.
Ashtidak Shauna.
Awafi. Thank you.
Shauna, it was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're so proud of you, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Delicious. Thank you, Shauna. I love your food.
Thank you, Shauna.
Thank you. We miss you.
Ashtidak Kalvi.
Awafi.
You can get it at Fruity Maruti also on Westminster.
You did it great.
And Lufa Farms.
Shauna,
Thank
I'm
you.
coming
Yes,
over
Lufa's
to
the
eat your
best.
food. Shauna, I'm coming over to Kotsaknook now in my PJ.
Perfect. Come.
You're still in your PJs, Lily?
Yes, I'm in my PJ.
Every Tuesday night you're in your PJs.
Perfect. Why not?
Shauna, I have one question for you.
Yeah, Chloe.
What did you say before in the presentation? There was one
Amen.
grain that is all protein. What one was it?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Say that again.
One grain, there's a grain you
Yeah.
said that is 100% protein. Which one is it?
Hang on. Let me clarify. I didn't say it's 100% protein. I said it's a full protein.
Okay.
So that means that there's a lot of vegetarian proteins that you need to mix with something else in order for your body to digest it fully. So for example, spinach, you need to add some vitamin C, like orange juice or something like that, for your body to digest it fully. But quinoa is the only, so it's called quinoa, by the way, Clody.
Okay.
And that's the only grain that has a full protein that your body can digest fully.
Oh, okay. That's so myself. Okay.
Shauna, is there a reason why
Yes.
your sister is eating her tofu with chopsticks?
I don't know, ask her.
She's authentic. She's authentic.
Where is she?
Here, unmute yourself, Sandra. Explain.
Why are we eating it with chopsticks?
Hello, student. It's Asian.
I think that's a good answer.
It is Asian.
Donna, question. Is
Yeah.
there a Facebook Live link for this that we can circulate to other people who might want to see?
Yes,
this
there
later
is.
on?
Grace, do you want to take that question?
Yeah, it's the Spanish and Portuguese Synagogue of Montreal on Facebook. It's live right now.
Okay, and you'll be able to see the video afterwards there as well?
Yes, and we will download the video tonight from this Zoom meeting, and we will edit it and send the link to everyone.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
I couldn't put a word, but I wanted to say how impressed I am.
Oh, thank you.
Unbelievable. You are so talented.
Thank
You are
you.
full of talent. You are full of brain. You are full of good nature, and everything you do and say is amazing.
Oh, thank
Good
you.
luck. Good luck. And I love everything you do, and I buy it everywhere, wherever I am. I buy it. I find it at Provigo, at Metro, at IGA, and my daughter found it in Toronto, and she is so excited. She doesn't have to take it from here anymore.
No, that's right.
That's
Thank
it.
you very much. That's really nice of you. Thank you.
Donna, a beautiful evening. We can't thank
Thank
you
you.
enough. And
Thank
Lily,
you
what
so
a
much.
beautiful thank you. I appreciate it very much.
It was, you can say it's a delicious evening.
Yeah, exactly.
Amir Sabah, are you very proud of Shauna?
No.
No.
We are very proud of
We are so proud of you.
Oh,
Wonderful,
very
wonderful
nice.
presentation. I don't know who she took after.
Ah,
My mother
Amy.
and my father.
the grandma.
I have a question.
Yes,
So,
of course.
I wish my mother was online, but she's not because she tries to adapt like the kupa, like she makes kupa shwindli, and the
Yeah.
filling, she tries to make it vegetarian. So
Yeah.
have you experimented with Iraqi food? And
Of course.
so I would love to hear that. I wish I could get her online, but she does all the filling of the kupas. But if there's anything else we could do, we'd love to know. Because my two brothers
Yeah.
now are like vegetarians, sort of.
Oh, awesome.
Awesome.
Well, I made recently. I did potato chop. I don't know if you do the kippa potato.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So that what I did is I put the outside. I just did potatoes with a little bit of rice flour, And then the inside, I put a bunch of lentils. I crushed up some walnuts. I put a lot of onions and a lot of mushrooms, and a little bit of some spicing like the Arabic pepper and a little bit of coriander seeds. And it turned out really, really good. So that's, and we made a tweet last week, but my mom made it, to be clear. But we did tweet just as a regular tweet with like onions and rice and tomato and the Arabic pepper. And we bought some mock chicken and put it in there. And then we also took some veggie meatballs and crumbled it up in there. And that was really, really good. But that was all my mom.
Amazing. Oh, I can speak now. Amazing. I'd like if you do that kind of cookbook, we're really interested.
We're in.
Or a blog of Iraqi food. Wow.
One day. Thank you.
Hi, Chantal. How are you?
Hi, Danny. How you doing?
I have two questions, but I want to tell you I'm a big fan. When Corona started, I went to a Metro, and you were like my survival. Like we bought 6 of Chantal, so you know what I mean. So that was great.
That's so nice. Thank you.
Chantal, I have a quick 3 questions to ask you. First of all,
3.
Yes, it's going. But I read somewhere, and that's after I checked your ingredients, that like when they say Beyond Burger and they're saying it's healthy, apparently they put a lot of coconut oil, and everyone's saying that it's not that great. And I noticed in your platters you don't have that. So that's one question. Second of all, I want to ask you, Chantal, and I'm sure you know this better than us, but they're beginning to develop fake meat. Like they're taking cells and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you see that as a competition to you? How do you foresee that business in the future? And my third question is that all these companies out west that are converting, let's say, peas canola into protein. Could you? Is that something that you have in your product as well?
Yeah. Okay. So now I have to remember all 3 questions at once. Okay. So okay, a couple of things. So the first. About the cells and making meat from that.
Yes.
So I do not feel that that's a competition for us at all, actually, because it's very different from what we do. If you've tried our products, we're not about fake meat. We're really about real food. So our products are all about fresh vegetables and beans and different things like that, which is really different from the fake meat market. But I'm certainly not opposed to it. I think it's great that people are doing it and coming up with different creative ways, because it's really hard to be sustaining this agriculture for our environment. So and get people to eat different products that are not meat based. I think it's great. But it definitely, I don't feel like it's a competition to us. And then you asked about the health issues for the Beyond Meat.
Yes. The coconut oil.
So coconut oil in itself is actually very healthy. It's a very good fat. I think a lot of what people are talking about the Beyond Meat is the fact that they put a lot of oil. It's super high in fat, super high in saturated fat, and something else that people talk about is the sodium. It's super high in sodium. So, but that being said, I don't think there's anything wrong with it as a once in a while treat. Personally, like myself, I do not like the Beyond Burger, but that's a personal taste. But there are a lot of people out there who really like it, and I think it is a good thing for people to have who are craving the meat but don't want to eat it. So, but as a once in a while treat, not as a daily thing. Whereas I feel like our products are more of a daily thing because it's beans and vegetables.
Okay, cool. And then the last question is that, what do you think of all this new technology where they're taking like peas and canola and converting it into proteins? Is that, I would like to learn more about it. Like my question is, are you aware of it? Would you use it in your products? So
so
just as an illumination.
Sorry, I forgot your third question. It's so it's not something we do in our products.
Okay.
but it is, again, it's a good thing. It's finding different sustainable sources of proteins that people are using. The only thing I would say that bothers me a little bit is I feel like it's very transformed. So, I mean, you're kind of getting away from the real foods. So that's the only negative thing about it, but it's still, I mean, it's a good thing. It's just like environmentally, it's really hard to sustain the meat diet that everybody has right now. So it's good to have different alternatives.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Keep up the good work. It's great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for a beautiful evening, Chantal.
Thank you.
Shauna. Thank you, Shauna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shauna.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
That was fun. Thank you.